South Africa has made headlines around the world, not for a scandal, not for a crisis, but for a bold legal strike on the global stage. In early 2024, it became the first country to formally accuse Israel of genocide in Gaza, and took that case straight to the International Court of Justice. Why did South Africa do this? What's the case actually about? And what does it tell us about where global power is shifting right now? To understand South Africa's move, you have to understand its history. This is a country built on the memory of apartheid, racial separation, oppression, and global isolation. That ended in 1994. And ever since, South Africa, as post-apartheid government, has positioned itself as a defender of human rights, especially for oppressed peoples. So when the Israel-Gaza war escalated in late 2023, with thousands of Palestinians killed in bombings, South Africa didn't stay quiet. They didn't just criticize, they went legal. On December 29, 2023, South Africa filed a formal case at the ICJ, the United Nations top court, accusing Israel of committing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. The argument that Israel's military actions, combined with statements from Israeli officials, showed intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national group, which is the textbook definition of genocide under international law. The ICJ agreed to hear the case. In January 2024, South African lawyers stood before the judges and laid out their argument. They showed footage, cited undeath tolls, quoted Israeli politicians, and said, "This isn't just war, it's a systematic campaign of destruction." Israel, of course, rejected the charge outright. They called it baseless, malicious, a distortion of the truth. Israeli representatives said they were defending themselves after Hamas attacks, and that they were targeting terrorists, not civilians. But here's the thing. The court didn't need to decide whether Israel was guilty. Not yet. First, it had to decide whether Israel should be ordered to change its behavior while the case goes on. In late January, the ICJ ruled yes. It issued provisional measures telling Israel to avoid acts of genocide, prevent hate speech, and let in humanitarian aid. That was a win, politically, legally, and symbolically, for South Africa. So what does this all mean? First, it's about power. This is one of the most significant acts of global South resistance we've seen in years. A country like South Africa, not part of NATO, not aligned with the West, is using Western institutions, the UN, the Hague International Law, to challenge one of the most militarized states in the world. Second, it's about narrative. South Africa is shifting the conversation from Israel versus Hamas to state violence against civilians. It's repositioning Palestine as a human rights issue, not just a security one. And it's doing it with the legacy of apartheid in the background, a story the world already knows. Third, it's exposing fractures. In the past, the West would have dominated the global discourse. But now, countries like Brazil, Indonesia, Ireland, Colombia, and others are openly backing South Africa's case. The Global South is building its own diplomatic momentum, one that doesn't wait for us or EU approval. Of course, this isn't just about morality. South Africa has its own strategic interests. It's part of BRICS bloc with China, Russia, India, and Brazil, pushing for a new world order, less dollar dominance, less NATO influence, more multipolarity. This case fits that strategy perfectly. Now, let's be clear. The ICJ doesn't have an army. It can't enforce its rulings. Israel has ignored previous UN decisions before. But that's not the point. This case is about lawfare, using international law as a political weapon. And right now, South Africa is winning that war in the court of global opinion. So, where does this go next? The ICJ case could take years to finish, but South Africa has already scored a symbolic victory. It's forced the world to pay attention. It's embarrassed Western allies who don't want to criticize Israel, and a desperate international law back on the table. At a time when many said it no longer mattered, whether you agree with South Africa or not, one thing is clear. The country has reignited a conversation the world has tried to avoid, about war, about occupation, about justice, and about who gets to decide what those words really mean. This isn't just a court case. It's a global reckoning. You've been watching C.L.Y. Media. Real stories, real impact. Until next time, stay sharp.